Obviously, it's been a bit challenging physically over the last few weeks, but knock on wood, I'm in a pretty good place right now. Trainers and physical therapists have worked incredibly hard to help get me back to this place. I feel good. Hopefully tonight goes well. Continue to take it one day at a time. But I've never felt like I needed too many at-bats to feel like I'm prepared to play. So if tonight goes well, I would hope to be in there on Friday.
Ryan, was there one specific instance or moment where this started bothering you, or is this just kind of something that's been nagging and lingering?
My back locked up a little bit. As you guys know, who are around us every day, I have a history of dealing with some back things off and on. And then I think my oblique was probably just compensating for the back. And obviously with the expedited preparation process, it's challenging. You know, it presented some unique challenges for all of us, but certainly for guys like me who are very routine oriented and have been doing it a certain way for a long time. So I do think just trying to rush everything a little bit, back out a little bit tight, and then the oblique probably was compensating for the back. So, you know, as you know, with oblique injuries, you have to be careful. You got to get it to the point where you can really warm it up to try to avoid putting it at risk of doing further damage.
Hey, Ryan, Craig said you had a good day yesterday. What did that all entail? How much did you actually do to get yourself ready to play tonight?
I did everything. I took batting practice, played catch, ran some sprints, ran around the outfield. Basically did everything that would be required of me in a game setting. But obviously, you can't duplicate the intensity of an actual game. So tonight will present a unique challenge. But yesterday was an encouraging day and a big step in the right direction.
I believe when you last talked to us, you had said that you hadn't completely closed the door about opting out, that you were planning to play, but it was something it was day-by-day process. When you had the injury, did it cause you to have any second thoughts about playing this year, or were you always kind of full speed ahead?
Yeah, I don't think an injury would really impact my decision when it comes to whether to opt out or not. I think the biggest factor was just the health and safety protocols, making sure that I was confident that what we were doing would work. Obviously, for all of us who have families, I have 3 young children. There are so many things that come into play when trying to make a decision based on all the facts that are at hand. I think we all recognize there's some elevated injury risk, obviously, with the expedited process of trying to get ready. But the biggest concerns for me were more along the lines of the health and safety protocols when trying to make that decision.
Speaking of health and safety, Ryan, I mean, you guys were able to control everything for the most part at Miller Park. Now you're kind of out in the wild on the road. It's going to be a lot different. What's going to take some getting used to for you guys as you travel?
Everything. I think from the time we got on the bus, you just realize how much different everything is. We've obviously only been here at the White Sox facility for a few hours, but from what I can tell so far, these guys have done a phenomenal job. They feel very prepared. It's very organized, but it's basically a third of our team is in the regular locker room. There's an auxiliary locker room. Guys are spread out all over the place. Everything we eat is individually wrapped. Everybody has masks on, whether they're in the locker room or the training room. Everything is different. And obviously every ballpark we go to will be unique unto itself. So just trying to figure out a routine, trying to figure out, our new normal and ultimately, trying to put yourself in a position to have success after figuring all of that stuff out.
Ryan, assuming you're
you guys did a lot of outside is better than inside was kind of the policy. Do you think that's going to be that way when you're on the road for these games? Like, do you anticipate just not being in those clubhouse spaces as much? Sorry, Tom.
I think the goal is to minimize the time that we spend indoors. From everything that we've heard, whether it's from our team physicians or CDC, WHO, global health officials, everybody who has an educated opinion on this, the consensus seems to be that you're safer while being outside. We're fortunate that we're starting the season in July and not in April. It becomes a lot easier to spend more time outdoors this time of the year. So certainly the goal is to spend as much time as we can outside because there are still a lot of things to be concerned about. And as Andrew alluded to, just being on the road presents a lot of unique challenges.
Ryan, assuming you're on the roster for opening day, how weird is it going to be playing games in Wrigley and not be booed?
I still might get booed, man. I mean, there's a chance, they got some sounds maybe they're piping in. It wouldn't be normal for me not to get booed there. So maybe the people across the way on the rooftops or something like that. But obviously for all of us, we would prefer to have fans. even on the road in the most challenging environments, I think they just create such a unique atmosphere and environment. It's something that I've always enjoyed, and the no fan thing will be one of the biggest challenges of this season, whether it's at home or on the road.
Ryan, kind of jokes aside about the sound effects. I mean, we heard the booing sound effect at Miller Park. Do you think teams will use that to kind of create the atmosphere when the other team is up at bat, or would that be considered like, uncool?
I have no idea. I know MLB, I think, has some pretty specific guidelines in place that they were getting to teams prior to the start of the season. So I would imagine some of that will be uniform, but some noise is better than no noise. I mean, we played some inter-squad games, obviously, with zero noise at all, and that's not fun. So I think that having some type of noise and trying to create some type of atmosphere or environment makes it feel more normal to us. And I think for the viewing audience, it will create an aesthetic that's a little bit more similar to what people are used to.
I imagine you'll spend at least part of the time this season at a corner outfield spot. I was just wondering, MLB at one point was not going to have ball boys and ball girls as part of the protocols this year. Now it seems they've reversed themselves and there will be ball boys and ball girls. How much of a difference does that make, if any, for guys who play near the lines in terms of chasing the foul balls and stuff?
There's some ballparks where there's a lot of foul territory, so I think it has a bigger impact in some places than others. But the biggest thing I take away from it is just, I think for all of us, we're grateful when MLB makes adjustments when there are things that we give them feedback on. Again, there's no precedent for anything that we're going through. So as we go through some of these things and we start to experience them, when we give feedback, whether it's specifically to our organization or back to MLB, the fact that they are willing to make adjustments and try to help put us in the optimal position to be able to just play the game as similarly as to what we're all accustomed to is something that I think we're all appreciative of.
Ryan, when we talked to David Phelps yesterday, he said in talking to the teammates, he got emotions all across the board as opening day approached. It's generally almost always just excitement, but because of the unknown stuff, he said there's nervousness, anxiousness, just everything. What are you feeling and what are you sensing from your teammates?
Yeah, I think, David probably summed it up well. There's a wide array of emotions. I think more than anything, we're excited, we're enthusiastic. We're looking forward to it. It's exciting to get to play against a different opponent. I think we're one of the only teams that probably hasn't played against another team yet. So that's certainly something that we're excited about, but there's still some apprehension. There's some nerves. There's some anxiety about how everything will work. Everything from being on buses to being in hotels to doing our intake testing at opposing ballparks and then eventually getting on airplanes and everything else. So I think he summed it up well by saying it's a wide array of emotions, I think, for everybody because it is all still so new to us.
Do you think being mostly a veteran team, even all the new guys are all veterans, will that help just because you guys are so used to adjusting to challenges and adversity?
I think it could work either way. I think we are also more accustomed to doing things a specific way, and we know what each of these ballparks used to look like. Whereas I think a less veteran or less experienced team would have no idea what it used to be like when they went to, Wrigley or into St. Louis or anywhere else where we might play. So, I think for most veteran guys, we are very much routine oriented. So it's probably that much. It feels like a more drastic change for us than for young guys who hadn't spent much time in a lot of these ballparks.
Hey, Brian, just as a veteran, is there a heightened level of responsibility now when you're on the road? I guess there's not routine bed checks when you're at home, but the same temptations perhaps are there to go out and do something and enjoy your time. You're in a great city in Chicago, although it's all different. But is there a different level of responsibility when you step away from the confines of your own bed and end up in a city like Chicago or wherever else you may end up traveling to?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we have very specific team rules and guidelines about what we are and are not allowed to do. And there's a level of accountability that we will have to each other and following those guidelines. All it takes is one or two guys going out or doing things that they shouldn't do to ultimately end up with a big outbreak that could be, very dangerous for not only our team, but the entire sport. So I think going on the road presents a lot of unique challenges, and it's really important that we take all of the rules and guidelines as seriously as possible, abide by everything to the fullest extent that we can, and try to put ourselves in the optimal position to avoid being in that situation. Because I think one of the biggest keys of success this year is staying healthy, both in avoiding injuries, but probably more importantly, avoiding a large scale outbreak where you could take out, a large percentage of your players.
Ryan, obviously you and your teammates are putting yourselves in harm's way, but I have heard from some fans today that said they're literally going to get emotional when they hear Euchre on the call or the first at bat or whatever. With everything that's going on and stuff, how much as an athlete do you feel maybe a responsibility to brighten somebody's day, or just how exciting is it going to be for you guys in that aspect?
Yeah, I think we feel the same way. I think we're really excited to be able to provide a source of entertainment, hopefully an emotional outlet, and a source of just joy to people's lives every day, at least over the next couple months. I think that sports has always been something that's brought people together. It's been a unifying force. The entire country and the world, for that matter, has been through so much over the last few months that I do hope that we are able to bring joy to people's lives, bring some entertainment to people's lives, and represent a step in the return to normalcy that everybody can enjoy. So I think that's one of the things that I personally am most excited about, and I think all my teammates feel the same way.
Regarding Euchre, he won't be in the cages or in the locker room. You won't see him as much, I guess, but he is back for his 50th year of broadcasting with the Brewers. From a player's perspective, just what does he mean to this organization?
Wow. I mean, it's difficult to properly articulate how much he means to this organization and this sport. He's such a special human. He's done so many incredible things in his life, both on the baseball field and off. He brings so much joy to each of our lives when we're around him. He's just an incredible human being. I think that anytime people get to listen to him, he will bring a sense of normalcy back to what will be an otherwise completely abnormal season in every imaginable way. So, for all of us who have an opportunity to spend any amount of time with Euch, our lives are better because of it.
Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Ryan, what do you make of the Mookie Betts news today?
It's great for him. I think it's a good thing for the sport. Obviously, there's so much uncertainty from an economic and financial standpoint about how this situation will impact the game moving forward. There are very few comparable players to Mookie. He's one of the best players in the sport. He's young, well-rounded. He's good at everything. So I think he's one of the few guys that would probably be least impacted by the economic fallout of the last few months and the uncertainty moving forward. But it's a great thing for him. It's a great thing for the sport. And I think that, it's a good day for baseball. It is.
Ryan, thank you very much. Just as a reminder, Bob Euchre will join us at 5 o'clock.